We know that the Passover holiday gets its name from the fact that God passed over the homes of the Jews when he went out to kill the firstborn sons of the Egyptians. That sounds like it would have taken some amount of time as fast as God went. He would have had to kill an Egyptian, pass over a Jewish home, kill another Egyptian. So it sounds like some time would have elapsed between the death of the first and last Egyptian firstborn. On the other hand, the Torah tells us that the Egyptian firstborn sons were killed bechatzos halayla, at a very precise time in the middle of the night, which sounds like they died simultaneously. And if they did die simultaneously, why say that we were passed over? Why not say that we were spared, and then we can eat spare ribs? I saw a few different answers to this apparent contradiction, but I'm not going to share them with you because I'd rather you spend the time with your family and friends trying to figure out answers of your own at the Seder or during the Passover holiday. Instead, I want to focus on why perhaps the holiday is called Passover, because I think there's a very deep lesson to be learned. Passover, more than any other of our holidays, is communally and family-oriented, which makes sense, because that's when we were liberated, when we gained our national identity, when we became the Jewish people. Back in the day, you had to sign up to be part of a group in order to eat the meat of the Passover sacrifice. And now, when we sit down at our Seder, we're sitting down with our family members and our friends, and we're even announcing, "Let all who are hungry come and eat." And as parents, we're so concerned with fulfilling the obligation of v'higarata levincha, and you should tell the story of Passover over to your children. Very difficult to share the story meaningfully with children of different ages and interests. Very little time, therefore, on Passover for me, myself, and I. Very different than, for example, Yom Kippur, which in many ways is lonely. Of course, you're in synagogue and you're praying and singing along with others, but you're also going through that process that's very individualized, thinking about your own transgressions and shortcomings. But maybe that's the lesson God wants you to have by calling it Passover. He's reminding you that back then, on the first Passover, when he passed over each individual Jewish home, he liked what he saw. Not just because of the blood on the doorpost, but because of what it represented. It represented a commitment that each of us had made to follow him and his word. And he does the same thing now. He passes over each one of us, each one of our homes, and each individual. We regain each year our communal and individual freedom. That's why each of us is meant to feel on Seder night that we were a slave and we were freed. Because God comes back and he checks out, what are you doing with the freedom that I gave you? Nowadays, most Jews are freer than perhaps we've ever been. Free to do just about anything. And when we use our freedom to do God's will, to do mitzvahs, he's up in heaven going, attaboy or girl. One of my older sons was home this past Sunday because yeshiva break had started. So he joined my softball team, made a phenomenal defensive play, stole a hit away and saved a run. And I walked off the field yelling, "That's my boy." It was like when Ken Griffey, at the end of his career, played on the same team as his son, Junior. And in one game, they hit back-to-back home runs. The scene in the dugout afterwards was precious. And that's what it's like in heaven when we do God's will. He feels great and we feel great. But there are other times when we can cause him to raise an eyebrow over how we're using our freedom. Crushing candy? Seriously? Or other times we can cause him to wear out the heavenly carpet with worry. What's going to be with him or her? Or we can make him angry when we sin intentionally. Or worse, we can make him cry over the distance between us and the loving embrace of our Father in heaven. So this Passover, try to find some alone time. Time to take a cheshbon hanefesh, a spiritual accounting, to consider what are you doing with that freedom that God renewed for you this year. Are you on a spiritual elevator heading, God forbid, towards the basement? Or are you heading, hopefully, towards the higher floors?
I've got to be free, free to face a life that's ahead of me.